Both games end with brilliant tactics. Peter Svidler, top Russian GM, is known for playing the Spanish Archangel. We will check out a brilliant game which took place in the Indian qualifier, in which one player will get a spot in the Champions Chess Tour. Timestamps for the video are here. Firstly, we have the main event. 2 Indian GMs battle it out in our main game. Then we will have a bonus puzzle at the end between Gata Kamsky and Peter Svidler, because the 2 games are so similar. Both games end with brilliant tactics, so stick around until the end. If it's your first time here, hello, my name is William. Every single black piece is in the attack. It is incredible, absolutely incredible. Bishop, bishop, knight, queen, pawn. Sethuraman has white, rating 2644. Harsha has black, rating 2509. We have e4, e5, knights out, and bishop b5. We have the Spanish. a6, bishop a4, knight f6, and castle. Bishop out to c5. c3, castle. d3 is now chosen by white. Another option is d4, but d3 played in the game to get a lot of central control. Black now attacks the bishop with b5. Bishop chooses to retreat to b3 on this diagonal, and now d6. This is the Spanish Archangel variation. Bishop g5 now, pinning the knight to the queen. h6. Bishop back to h4. You keep the pin and you keep the pressure. g5. Getting space on the king side, but perhaps weakening your king at the same time. Bishop g3. In this position, it's time to assess whose bishop is better. White's bishop on g3 or black's bishop on c5. Black's bishop is facing the king, white's bishop is facing the pawn in the middle. So if white can go d4 to open it up, then this bishop is going to come back in the game. Bishop back to b6 to stop white just hitting the bishop with d4. So if d4, maybe black can now just play queen e7. a4, typical move in the Spanish. White wants to open the a file in his favour. Get the rooks in the game. a4, rook b8, get out of the way, take, and knight a3. This pawn is a target. In these types of position, it is okay to sacrifice this pawn, because if you push the pawn or you defend it, it turns out it's not actually that great an option. Knight a7 is such a negative move. This knight should be in the center. If you push, then knight c4, you're giving white the c4 square for the knight. So in these kind of Spanish Archangel variations, it's okay to give up the pawn. So what does black do? He does knight h7. One option is knight h5 to attack this, but knight h7 chosen. Why? Because this knight defends this pawn, and you're going to go h5, h4 to attack the bishop. If you get this type of position in your games, try this plan. Knight h7 with h5, h4. Give up your b5 pawn. Get a kingside attack going. One other option is this. King g7 and then f5. You need to play king g7 because this bishop is pinning the pawn to the king. So if white played rook e1, then king g7 and f5 as well. So then this bishop is in the game. So these are all options for black. d4, white strikes in the center, h5. At the end, there will be a bonus puzzle involving Gata Kamsky and Peter Svidler. I know I mentioned that at the start, but make sure you stick around until the end. It is an absolutely brilliant puzzle. One of the most beautiful games I've seen. h5, you're going to go h4, trap the bishop. So h3, give the bishop some space. You attack it, and now g4. White is almost in time to open up the center, then this bishop is actually in the game. But g4 played, you attack the knight, take, pinning the knight to the queen. Black has a lot of pressure with a couple of bishops. But then so does white. Bishops this way and this way. So all 4 bishops are slicing the board. Queen d3, get out of the way. Get out of the pin. You still defend the knight, and you're putting pressure on b5. Take in the center, take with the knight. You don't want to take with a pawn because you take on f3 and then d4 drops. Take with a pawn, but knight e5. Attacking the queen goes to e3, but the problem with this move is you are putting yourself in the same line as the bishop. Really cool sequence coming up. Firstly, let's attack this knight, c5. When I first saw this, I thought this is not possible because white actually has bishop takes e5. The first problem is if you move the knight, then c4. That's the problem. Bishop attacks queen, pawn attacks bishop. There's no good spot for the queen. Queen h6 is one try because you're threatening checkmate in one go, but you just get rid of the knight. Take, and then you can grab your bishop. You are a piece up. After c5, the first problem I thought was, well, maybe white can take. Because if you take the knight, then you come back. White has won a pawn. After bishop takes e5, d takes e5. This diagonal is closed at the moment. At first sight, this looks like a big problem for black because he's going to play knight c6. The attack continues queen f6. Who cares if you take my rook? You can take back. No. c4, double attack, which we saw before. Attack the queen, then you can take the knight. So this is a really good in-between move, and intermezzo. Queen has to get out the way. Queen d2. I can grab the knight and then go back to d8 with the rook to attack the queen. Or I can grab this. But Harsha chooses to play rook d8, attack the queen first. No point going knight d7 because you're going to take. And then you're still attacking his bishop. Attacking the queen, queen moves out the way. Now it's time to take the knight, right? Wrong. It's an amazing position. Two white pieces are hanging, yet Harsha doesn't take any of them. Black doesn't even take either minor piece, this knight or this bishop. He just gets on with it. Knight g5. Black has 4 pieces and 1 pawn in the attack. Bishop, bishop, knight, queen, and this pawn can come up to break up the structure. White now goes bishop d1, offering a trade. Fair enough. Get rid of one of black's attacking pieces. Pause the video now or let the timer bar run. Can you find a brilliant way for black to finish it off? This bishop is surprisingly annoying, so it's time to just get rid of it. But not with bishop takes bishop. Rook takes. Rook takes d1. Every single black piece is in the attack. It is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Bishop, bishop, knight, queen, pawn. And that's all the pieces. And 1 pawn in the attack. Black now goes knight f3 check. Got to take, and bishop takes f3. And with this move, there's no good defense. White resigned. Queen g5 check. Put the queen on the g5, it's going to be checkmate. No good way to block. If you go king out the way, now you just check it. Check. Wherever the king goes, checkmate. If you go here, check. And then we have mate on that spot. If you go back, it's the same thing. Check. And still mate on g2. The reason this reminded me of the Kamsky Svidler game is because of the knight on b8. Now for the bonus. Let's take it from here. This game was played back in 2011. September, part of the FIDE World Cup. Black has a couple of bishops slicing the board. Black has rook in the game. Controlling the file, queen in the game as well. White now plays a very sensible move, just blocking one of these incredible bishops. He plays knight c6. No way does black now take. Give up the rook. That's why this reminded me of the main game. Black now plays queen h4, giving up the rook. So with this move, you attack the bishop, and you attack f2 as well. White now played knight takes b8. Pause the video now, or let the timer bar run. Can you find an absolutely brilliant move for black? And the clue is, you're going to use both bishops. And I want you to somehow checkmate on g2. Queen g3. If you are thinking that, great, you are along the right lines. Queen g3 doesn't work because of knight c6. White actually found a way to block the diagonal, and white is now winning. So that's the clue. Can you find a brilliant move for black? If you found it, congratulations. It is all about deflecting the queen. This queen defends the c6 square. So if you can find a way to get that queen off c2, black is totally crushing. Rook e2. What a move. Queen c3 was played in the game because the queen needs to guard that square. If you take queen g3, there's no good way to stop it. Just like mentioned before, knight c6 doesn't make a difference because the threat is still there. And there's no good way for white to block that diagonal. After rook e2, queen c3 played, guarding the square, also pinning knight to the king. Black can take the bishop, but he chooses to crash through. Rook takes f2, game over. If you take, then check. King moves, and then we got mate on g2, just like in the game. If white did not resign, we still have checkmate on g2. After rook takes f2, knight c6 was played. Rook takes f1 check, game over. If you take with a king, it is mate on f2. If you don't take, then you're just going to be down too much. Every single piece is hanging. Knight g4 is coming once this pin is sorted, but everything is hanging. Also, by the way, bishop g1. So if you play take, then you can go check. Bishop d4. Discovered attack, pick up the queen, game over. Here is YouTube's recommendation for what to watch next, but maybe you don't like that option. If not, here's mine. Magnus Carlsen beats Alireza Firouzja in 21 seconds. If you don't like that suggestion, you might like Anish Giri versus Peter Svidler in the Chess 24 Banter Blitz Cup.